the mic.
Get on the mic.
Just get on the mic. Get on the mic, Mike.
Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome to Get on the Mic. That's where you put me in front of a microphone with a few notes and I talk about some of the more interesting things that have happened throughout the world of entertainment this week, or whatever else I feel like talking about. As always, I am your host, the Reel Geno Reynolds, and today, boy has it been a busy week. So let's see how this show's going to go. My notes on this show changed so many times, especially thanks to the What is DC Doing segment. Thank you, Birds of Prey. We got a lot to talk about today. First, as always, we'll be starting with What is DC Doing? There's a lot going on there. Also, Freddy Kreuger is coming back, sort of. Robert Redford talks about his retirement announcement, or whatever it was. Sean Gunn talks about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Tom Hardy and the movie's director, Ruben Fleischer, talk about Venom. Rosario Dawson's future in the Marvel Universe might be done. Bradley Cooper talks about his helper for developing his character for A Star is Born. Will Hugh Jackman play Wolverine again? Part 5072. Michael B. Jordan is going to be involved in some new Tom Clancy movies. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Bumblebee trailer. And normally this would be in the What is DC Doing segment. But I have a theory for the Joker movie, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, and how it might not be what they say it's going to be. So we'll talk about that at the end of the big stories. But first, as usual, what is DC doing? There is yet another new show being added to the DC Universe's streaming service lineup. And also, the main character has been cast. Stargirl is set to be the 6th original series, which joins Titans, Doom Patrol, and the Swamp Thing live action shows, plus the Harley Quinn and the returning Young Justice cartoons. The story for Stargirl is this. Courtney Whitmore, a high school sophomore who discovers her stepfather was the superhero Stripe and the former sidekick to the Star-Spangled Kid. She finds the Star-Spangled Kid's staff in her stepdad's belongings and gains new superpowered abilities. She then joins the Justice Society of America and then becomes the title character Stargirl. This new show is based on the character created by Jeff Johns, who is also the show's executive producer, plus he is writing the first episode of the show. Johns created the character and named her after his sister, who died in the TWA Flight 800 plane crash of 1996. When it came to the casting of the character, Johns talked about how it was very important to him. For Stargirl, he went with Nickelodeon star Breck Basinger, who is best known as Bella from Nickelodeon's Bella and the Bulldogs, and has also appeared on the School of Rock TV series The Goldbergs and Hulu's All Night. About Basinger, he said, quote, "There is no other character in comic books more special to me than Stargirl, and after searching far and wide, I can say there is no other actor on the planet that embodies her more than Breck Basinger. Breck's warmth, strength, humor, and positive energy are core to who Courtney Whitmore is. I'm so grateful she signed on for the role." With all of the rumors and whatnot about what and which movies are going to get made in the DCEU, we now know that one is for certain. Birds of Prey, or whatever it ends up being called, it's probably going to be Birds of Prey, will now be hitting theaters on February 7th, 2020. It was originally slated for February 14th, 2020, but with Bond 25 moving to that spot, as well as a rumored Disney live-action movie being there, yeah, they were going to move. This next part of the story changed a couple of times, I'll say a couple, this week when I was trying to make notes for it. At first, we were given a short list of actresses that were up for some of the roles. There were reports that were saying that these actresses were confirmed, but I wasn't at the time completely sure about said confirmations. Along with an already confirmed Harley Quinn played by Margot Robbie returning, it was also said that the core team in the movie would include Black Canary, Huntress, and Renee Montoya, the Gotham City police detective that later becomes the question whether or not it's going to happen in the movie. Who knows? For the role of Black Canary, Juju Mbatha-Raw, who was Miss Murray in A Wrinkle of Time, and Journey Smollett-Bell, who is Nicole on True Blood, were said to be up for the role. Janelle Monáe from Hidden Figures was also said to have been in the running for the part, but that wasn't confirmed, or she wasn't confirmed for having read for the role. It has also been noted that Mbatha-Raw previously passed on a possible role in Captain Marvel, but the reasons or the role were unknown. For Huntress, the list included Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who is Ramona in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Margaret Qualley, who is Jill in The Leftovers, and Kristen Milioti, who is Nanette Cole in Black Mirror. There were rumors that Sophia Botella, who was Gazella in Kingsman, was also up for the role, but the rumor was debunked. I do think that she would have been really cool in the role, though. So what's up with all the past tense, you ask? Well, after I did tons of notes, most of them you just heard. The roles of Black Canary and Huntress have been cast. Journey Smollett-Bell will play Black Canary, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead will play Huntress. As for Renee Montoya, Justina Machado from One Day at a Time, and Roberta Colindres from the short-lived series I Love Dick are both to have said have read for the role. While no actresses were named in relation to the role, the casting report did confirm that the producers are looking for a 12-year-old Asian actress to play the role of Cassandra Cain, who in the comics took up the identity of Batgirl. Older rumors going around said that DC was looking at Andy Mack star Peyton Elizabeth Lee for the role, but nothing ever came of that we know of. Another bit of news that I found about this story, and while I can't find any real confirmation of this, is that Sam Rockwell apparently passed on the role of the movie's villain Black Mask. Lastly, while we have learned of some of the cast already, a full cast list for the movie is expected within the next couple weeks or so, and shooting is scheduled to begin in Los Angeles in January. Bruce Wayne is now worth a lot more money because of his Lil Wayne, his Batpole, his Batmite, whatever you want to call it. This is an update to a story we talked about last week involving the new DC Black Label release of Batman Damned #1. It is now being reported that because some people got their superhero tights in a twist, all future printings of the comic will now feature the same censored images of Batman that are already featured in the digital comic, which puts a lot more shadow where his Bat Fang is. This quote is from IGN. Quote, a source close to the project told IGN that DC chose to alter the art because it wasn't additive to the story. The first print run currently on sale in shops still features the unaltered art, but all future printings of Batman Damned #1 will reflect the altered artwork, the source also said. So, to make my first point, Batman #1, Batman Damned #1, has instantly became a collector's item. Now, this is really no big surprise. People love controversial collectibles. When I was collecting my notes for the story, I decided to go to eBay. I just had to see what the book was selling at. And again, to no real big surprise, the prices are already through the freaking bat roof. The low end of the totem pole is around $50. And the high end is this item right here. The 9.8 pro-graded Jim Lee variant art cover signed by Jim Lee for $1,000 plus $20 shipping and handling. Guess you're going to need your back credit card to purchase that one. After the first photo of Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck was released by Joker movie director Todd Phillips, and after I recorded last week's program, of course, Phillips then released a short screen test-like video of Phoenix in the Joker makeup, or at least a version of the Joker makeup anyway. Here is a picture from some of the set photos taken during a New York filming in a subway. I have more to say about this new look for the Joker, or at least this new Joker, but it plays into a theory of mine. So I'll be talking about that at the end of the longer stories block. I'm sure within all the different announcements for different DC movies, many of you forgot that there is 2 other movies involving the Clown Prince of Crime. 3 if he shows up in Suicide Squad 2. While there isn't any information on the Jared Leto standalone Joker movie, there has been a little information released about the Joker and Harley Quinn one. We already knew that Jared Leto and Margot Robbie were set to return to their roles from Suicide Squad, but not much else was known. Many people speculated it would be based on Mad Love. I mean, then again, we saw some of that in Suicide Squad, or at least some imagery from that. The movie is being written by Glenn Ficarra and John Requa. The pair wrote Bad Santa and are executive producers on This Is Us. According to the duo, it seems that these two things, this movie and this show, are the basis for their Joker Harley script. Ficarra said this, quote, "It was sort of like we wrote Bad Santa a couple of years ago, and it was that sensibility mixed with our This Is Us sensibility. We kind of meshed them together. We were doing a relationship movie, but with the sensibility of a Bad Santa effed up mentally deranged, with Bad Santa effed up mentally deranged people. It was a lot of fun." And by the way, they wrote, though I enjoyed the sequel to Bad Santa, they wrote the first one, which is the really good one, which in a way gives me a little hope. Gives me a little hope for the movie, a little bit. He then went on to describe the opening scene of the movie. Quote, "The whole thing starts with Harley kidnapping Dr. Phil, played by Dr. Phil, hopefully, because her and the Joker are having problems with their relationship," end quote. Okay, my hopes went down just a little bit. While this is the only story details that we know of so far, it may not be a part of the final story. Ficarra said, quote, we handed the script in and everybody loved it, but I don't know when they are going to do it," end quote. He also stated that it's likely that the Harley Joker film will depend on the reception of Robbie's Birds of Prey movie. And that's the end of what is DC doing for this week, except for my Joker theory later, of course. Next, I want to talk about Freddy Kreuger. Freddy Kreuger is coming back. Sort of. For the first time in 15 years, not counting the times he did it for photos that supported charities. Robert Englund will once again don the sweater, claws, and makeup of everyone's favorite wisecracking child murderer, Freddy Kreuger. While most would want it to be for another Freddy movie, something we've talked about on a past episode of this program, this isn't the case. Before we get to that, let's first hear Mr. Kreuger himself talk about his decision to step away from the role. Quote, "I'm too old to do another Freddy now. If I do a fight scene now, it's got to be real minimal because I can't snap my head in for 8 different takes and different angles. My spine gets sore. I can still be mean and scary, but I'm mostly relegated now to sort of Van Helsing roles, old doctors and shit. So it's fun that the last moment of me ever playing Freddy is a wink to the audience. So it seems that the only thing that can kill Freddy is old age, first of all. This didn't stop him from taking on the part again for the Halloween episode of ABC's The Goldbergs. The creator of the show, Adam F. Goldberg, is a huge fan of the character. He recently shared an article that had Robert Englund proclaiming he's not going to do another Elm Street movie, and expressed his desire to have someone do something to keep Freddy alive. On Twitter, along with the article, Goldberg posted, "No, there is only one Freddy. Robert Englund can't retire. Elm Street 3 scared the crap out of me when I was a kid. I was so terrified I slept in the hallway for a week, but then became a super fan. Someone has to do something to keep the nightmares alive." End quote. To promote the episode, Englund took to Twitter and shared this image, teasing his appearance on the show. The photo recreates the promo photo from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors, which honestly many consider to be the best of the series. It's my favorite of the series. With the pic, he tweeted, quote, "The Goldbergs, Wendy McClendon Covey, gave me goosebumps too. Ha! When yours truly guest starred on the Halloween episode of The Goldbergs on ABC." So, what do you think? Is this a good way for Englund as a character to go out? Is it insulting, or is it fitting given the character's comedic turn in the movies? Do you think Englund is truly done as the character, or will his idea of a shape-shifting Freddy happen? Let me know your thoughts. Going from one Robert to another, we're going to talk about Robert Redford. And he recently talked about his quote-unquote retirement announcement. Is he or isn't he? We've talked about this announcement on this program before, but now he may be backtracking on the statement he made a little while back. In an interview, he said, quote, "Never say never, but I pretty well concluded that this would be it for me in terms of acting," end quote. Excuse me. However, now that might not be the case. At the premiere of The Old Man and the Gun last Thursday, that was last week, not yesterday. Redford was asked if he was really retiring. He then had this to say: "That was a mistake. I should never have said that." He was then pressed just a little more, being asked if his role in The Old Man and the Gun was indeed his final on-screen performance. Redford wouldn't answer the question, saying that he'd rather it be a mystery. He then added, quote, "If I'm going to retire, I should just slip quietly away from acting, but I shouldn't be talking about it because I think it draws too much attention in the wrong way. I want to be focused on this film and the cast." I do have to say that I'm really looking forward to seeing The Old Man and the Gun. I'm hearing that if it is how Redford chooses to end his career, if it is truly his last movie, that it is a fitting one for him to go out on. I have this feeling that it is his final movie, but I could also see him coming out of retirement for one more, just some movie that's perfect for him, that comes out of nowhere. All of a sudden, Robert Redford's in this movie, and it's even a more perfect part for him. I can see him being the kind of actor that does that. It's something I'd like to see Sean Connery do, where all of a sudden he's in this movie and it's like this perfect role for him. But now we just have to wait and see. Until then, I'm really looking forward to seeing The Old Man and the Gun. Sean Gunn recently talked about Guardians 3. One of the big questions about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, besides who's going to direct the movie, is what is the story going to be? We weren't sure if Disney and Marvel were going to go with James Gunn's script or come up with a new story. According to his brother, Sean Gunn, who is his brother and the actor that plays the Ravager Kraglin, and does the motion capture for Rocket Raccoon, so Bradley Cooper can work less, I guess, has come out and said that when the movie does finally move forward, they will be using his brother's script. He said, quote, "I know Disney still wants to make the movie. I know that they have every intention of using the script that my brother wrote." He did mention that while he is ready to make the movie, its future is still a little uncertain. Quote, "Obviously, that was a very unfortunate situation for everybody, most of all him," referring to his brother. "But I am also somebody who had been preparing to spend half a year making that movie, and now that's up in the air. Obviously, I think it's a tricky proposition for them to find another director to step in, and also the scheduling of a lot of other actors who are incredibly busy. It can't be easy. But I know that they plan on making the movie. I had not been contacted at all for a while, but I was recently contacted by Marvel saying, yeah, we do plan to make this movie. We're just not sure when yet." While I'm sure the use of the former director's script might be seen as a bit of an olive branch to those that are not too happy that he is gone, I think it could be a bit of a double-edged sword. No matter who they get to direct this movie, even if they get someone like Taika Waititi, who the fans love after he directed Ragnarok, that director will still be using Gunn's script. Their style will constantly be compared to what Gunn did over 2 movies. If they mimic him, they'll be seen as a copycat. If they do their own thing, fans might say that this movie doesn't feel right. I'm really curious how Disney is going to handle this situation. All right, moving on to another Marvel movie. Tom Hardy and Ruben Fleischer both talked about Venom recently. Coming next week, we will finally begin the official Sony side of the Marvel franchise, whatever they're calling it. I really don't remember because I remember it was dumb. While I am really looking forward to Tom Hardy's Venom movie, I'm also really afraid of Sony delving into another Marvel franchise. The last time they did, we got The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the shit show. And no, I don't count them letting Marvel take Spidey, save the character, and then count the cash it provides. Tom Hardy did an interview this week and talked about a couple of things Venom related. The first was the movie's rating. While there was talk of this movie being like a horror film or maybe even getting an R rating, it really should come as no surprise that it finally received a PG-13 one. Of course it did. There are kids to get into the theater and toys to sell. That being said, I'm kind of looking forward to my Tom Hardy Venom action figure. Hardy talked about how the character could have been involved in a movie that got either rating. He said, quote, "To be fair, the Venom property can fulcrum into R-rated and fulcrum into youth or children. My littlest ones, they watch Spider-Man and Venom quite comfortably, and Venom toys appear and Lego appear. So it's not like they're scared by him. And at the same time, there's a lot of real estate that you can actually imbue with a complete sense of gratuitous ultra violence if you really wanted to. And I think you've got the right people for that job if you want to push it, because that's where I'd love to go with it." When it comes to the ratings, this is one of those instances that I feel a PG-13 version will be released in theaters and an R-rated or unrated version will be released on digital and Blu-ray. I think this will be a way for Sony to test the waters for an R-rated theatrical release to see if the market might really want it. That being said, there are, here it comes, sources out there that say that Sony wants to keep things PG-13 just in case they need to, want to do a crossover with Marvel and Spider-Man. Speaking of a possible crossover, Hardy also commented on that, saying that he didn't think crossing over would be an essential step. Quote, If we don't cross over, we're more than happy to stand alone, Hardy said. We have a Venomverse and 900 characters to play with. Is he speaking a little too soon? I love Tom Hardy, but is he speaking a little too soon? Is Hardy just a tad bit overconfident in his Venomverse? Or maybe, and this is a big maybe being that this is coming from Sony, Venom is really that good of a movie. Maybe. I guess we'll be finding out next week. Continuing on the Venom subject, the movie's director, Ruben Fleischer, also talked about the project this week. When asked about the whole no Spidey thing, he said, quote, "It was definitely challenging figuring out how to make a movie with a character that's defined by Spider-Man without Spider-Man. It's those creative challenges that allow you to really come up with something original and different. The thing that I'm most proud of about this movie is I think it feels different than other superhero movies." He also talked about how, with no direct ties to Spider-Man yet, the movie could create its own universe. He said, quote, "We kind of took the perspective of the more ultimate universe version of this movie. We can reimagine the origin that's not tied to Spider-Man, where the alien comes to our planet by whatever means we decide and however Eddie Brock and the alien meet up." Now, just because there is no Spider-Man in this movie, I'll still believe it when I don't see it, that doesn't mean that Fleischer doesn't think the two enemies won't ever cross paths. In fact, it sounds like he thinks that it's inevitable. He said, quote, "I think we laid the groundwork in this film for a pretty fun matchup in the future, so I think that'll be a really exciting story to explore, but I'd be lying if I didn't say I'd love to see him face off against Spider-Man at some point. It feels like that's inevitable, and I know that Tom Holland's excited about it, and I know that Tom Hardy's excited about it, so it's just a question of when and where, I guess. That seems like the natural evolution." Lastly, when asked if their version of Venom could exist in the MCU, he said, quote, "I don't know about that. I do know that we want to see these characters interact. As to the semantics, as to where it takes place, it's not for me to decide, but it feels like there's a way everyone can coexist in a satisfying way." So, though they are starting in two different universes, do you think that Spidey and Venom will eventually cross paths? Is it inevitable, as they say, or can Sony really build a non-Spidey Spideyverse and make it a success? Again, I guess we'll at the very least see the start of that next week. Sticking with Marvel, but going to the streaming TV side, Rosario Dawson's future in the Marvel Universe might be up in the air. This one comes as a bit of a shock if it happens. I don't really believe it at the moment, but Rosario Dawson may not be returning to the small screen MCU on Netflix. At a convention, she talked about how her leaving Luke felt like the character may have completed her arc. She said, quote, "Who knows if I'll come back again? This was looking like it was going to be a big final scene for Claire, and it was really as a culmination of 3 years and being on 5 different shows." It's not the first time she said something like this. At a convention in London, she said, quote, "Yeah, it's pretty wild, actually. I don't know if I'll be back after this, to be honest. But it's been an amazing few years. I've been on a lot of different shows. I mean, I don't know if maybe they do a 3rd season of Luke Cage potentially, or maybe if they figure out some kind of way for me to be on The Punisher, which is what I want to see, just so I can feel like I've done every show. But it's been like my daughter's in high school, so I kind of want to not be 3,000 miles away for work." Many have considered Dawson's Claire Temple, or Night Nurse, as that character becomes in the comics, to be the linchpin, the glue that kept this streaming Netflix MCU TV universe together. Sure, there are other crossover characters like Misty Knight, Foggy Nelson, and others, but none of them have really had the impact that Claire did throughout all the shows. Granted, Colleen Wing and Misty Knight are kind of getting up there. Dawson also commented on the scene that could or may be her last, saying how she was able to give some input to how it played out. She said, quote, when the scene was first written, to be honest, it was a little bit more written on his side, meaning Luke's, and his storyline and that kind of stuff. And I approached Chow, that would be Chow Hodari Coker, the writer and producer of Luke Cage, and had the audacity of adding some lines and rewriting some stuff and asked him if that could work. She then went on to mention where her contributions to the scene came from. Quote, it was the instinct of knowing that after 5 different shows, this was probably going to be, at least for now, a kind of goodbye for Claire. I wanted it to really honor this journey I've had with her and what she's been and what she stood for and what she means to a lot of people. After all, the Marvel Universe is focused around characters, but Claire means a lot because you don't have to have special superpowers to make a difference and an impact in your community and to challenge yourself to grow and to be greater. She just really inspired me a lot. While I really don't think that Dawson is hiding anything, I really don't think she is done for good. I think her character is too important to the multitude of different MCU series that are on the Netflix platform. I honestly think that if she is going to go out, so to speak, it will be on more heroic terms. I'm not saying that I want to see her character die or anything. She doesn't need to. But for her to be able to show in some way that you don't need powers to be a hero is always a powerful message to the ones that do. Getting away from comic book stuff, Bradley Cooper talked about his helper for preparing him for A Star Is Born. When it came to preparing for his role in the remake of A Star Is Born, a role that is getting some early awards buzz, by the way, Bradley Cooper decided to get the help of one of his good buddies, the one and only lead singer of Pearl Jam, Eddie Vedder. For the movie, Cooper learned to play guitar and sing, as well as helped in writing some of the songs created for the movie. Cooper said that Vedder was crucial in helping him craft the character of Jackson Maine, an homage to Chris Christopherson's John Norman Howard from the 1976 version of the movie. He said, quote, I went up to Seattle and spent 4 or 5 days with him, that him being Vedder, and I asked him 9,000 questions, and he gave me minor little things that only musicians know about what to do, just aesthetically and the inner workings. He was wonderful. While Cooper was sure he wanted to play the part, Vedder wasn't so sure at first, as he suggested to his friend that he should not do the movie. He said he thought Cooper was out of his mind for wanting to do this remake. Cooper said, quote, he thought it was crazy. I was going to do this movie. He was like, what? Bro, don't do that. Vedder was skeptical at first when it came to Cooper's decision to sing on screen, but eventually helped him the best he could to get him ready for the role. I guess we'll be finding out next week if all the Pearl Jam preparation paid off. I have to say that I'm liking what I'm seeing from the promotional material of this movie so far. The nice thing is I get to approach this movie from an angle of having not seen any of the other versions. I will be judging it just by the one. And I'm really looking forward to that. And yeah, the song, they just released one of the songs, the one you hear in the first trailer, and it's really good. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with this movie. Moving on, talking about another subject I like, Tom Clancy, at least movie-wise. I've never read the books. Michael B. Jordan will be working on some Tom Clancy movies. While not all the Tom Clancy, Jack Ryan movies are great, I'm looking at you, Chris Pine, most of them are pretty good. I even like the Ben Affleck one, and I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on the Amazon series. I'm hearing it's pretty good. My favorite of the group is by far Clear and Present Danger, which was Harrison Ford's second as the character of Jack Ryan. But we're not here to talk about Jack Ryan. My favorite character of that movie is John Clark, played by Willem Dafoe. In that movie, he is secretly brought in by the government to start a war against the Colombian drug cartel. At first, you think he is going to be a villain of sorts, but you soon realize that he is just the type of soldier that does what it takes to get the job done. However, he cares about the lives of his fellow soldiers more than anything else when he is betrayed by the ones that hired him. When the soldiers fighting are sold out and in trouble, Clark teams up with Jack Ryan to go save the ones that survived down in Colombia. Later in Affleck's Jack Ryan movie, The Sum of All Fears, John Clark was played by Liev Schreiber. While the character isn't given a ton to do in that film, he is still one of the best parts of it. And of course, I love Liev Schreiber, so that's a plus too. Instead of focusing on Jack Ryan in a movie yet again, Michael B. Jordan will be taking on the role of John Clark for at least 2 movies based on the late John Clancy's novels. The 2 that are in development at the moment are Without Remorse and Rainbow Six, as in, yes, that Rainbow Six. The characters appeared in not only Jack Ryan books, but his own as well. He has also appeared in multiple Rainbow Six games. What I'm saying is that there is the potential for a ton of different movies here. There really isn't any more information on this as of right now, but I, for one, am all for it. Jordan needs himself a good action franchise to lead. I mean, yes, he is taking continuing the Rocky franchise on his shoulders, but that's sports drama. He really needs a good action series since, well, he died in Black Panther, and since we know it's not going to be Fan Forstic or Red Tails or Ken. Moving on. I want to talk about one of the coolest things I've seen this week. I want to talk about the new Bumblebee trailer. Let's talk about it for a bit. From the get-go, heck, even the first trailer, I knew they look like they're going to do stuff right. But in this new trailer, the G1 influence for the characters is fantastic. You get versions of Shockwave. You get versions of Soundwave and his cassette Ravage, and I'm hoping we get Laserbeak and Rumble and all the others. You get Starscream, or at least it really looks like Starscream. It could be Blitzwing from the first trailer, like they said we thought it was Starscream, and it's really Blitzwing. I hope it's not, though. I hope that the one we see that's standing there with Shockwave is Starscream, because he looks amazing. And then there's other ones standing there. I'm guessing on the next 2, Skywarp is the purple one, and the green one might be Ramjet. Again, that's a guess. If those weren't cool enough for you, seeing those in the trailer, we also get an Optimus Prime that looks like freaking Optimus Prime. Is it sad that it took us going through 5 shitty Transformers movies to finally get a trailer that's better than all of those movies combined? Now, will the movie be good? I don't know. But at least it looks like they're actually trying to finally give the fans of the movie, or of the original show, the movie they've wanted for years now. The one they wanted way back in 2007, until they let a madman run wild with the series. So yeah, watching that trailer, I'm watching that and I'm like, this is what it should have been before. This is what it should have been before. The only thing I really want them to take away the Bumblebee can't talk thing. I want them to use this as a point to erase the the rest. And yes, I know they're doing the not talking thing, and it's supposed to be a prequel of sorts to Bay's films, but I'm really hoping that they decide to just say this is the starting off point now and go from there. And that's really what I want out of this Bumblebee movie, and I really want it to be good, and God, I hope it's good. All right, I want to talk about the Joker now, and just bear with me on this one because there is a lot of info here. But I have a theory. Now, for a while now, when this Joker movie, this Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie was announced, they kept saying it's not connected to the DCEU. It's not going to be, it's its own thing. You know what? I think they're lying. I'm going to say that it is. I have a theory. I think that the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie is just the past. I think that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is the original Joker, while Jared Leto's is the second one. Now, there's a few ways we can go with this. I'm going to give a few ideas, and then I'm going to give you my official guess, I think this is what's going to happen. But there's some ideas. Here's some ideas. For the longest time, they've denied the Joker is a Robin theory. Zack Snyder said that the dead Robin was Dick Grayson. But in the movies, it never said what Robin it was. And now Snyder is pretty much gone from DC, and now DC seems to be trying to fix things. I'm saying this. There's not going to be Jared Leto in this movie. But if this movie is successful, we could get a sequel that has Phoenix's Joker face off against Affleck's Batman. And get this, Leto's Robin. Not sure which one. They could still go with Dick Grayson, but they could easily make the switch to Jason Todd, being that they didn't really establish which one it was in the movies. I think most people would want to see Nightwing in these movies sometimes, so would prefer that if it is a Robin, it'd be Todd. I would prefer it be Jason Todd if that's the way they go. Later, he could become the Red Hood after Phoenix's Joker maybe makes his return. Another version could be that it is Leto's Joker that kills the original one and takes over. He could even be a new Robin created for the movies. I'm talking Leto. So that we could have a dead Jason Todd return as Red Hood and also have Nightwing. Leto's Joker could also just be some random kid that the original Joker kidnaps and warps, kind of like in the Batman Beyond movie where he warps Tim Drake into his quote-unquote kid. The point I'm trying to make is that I think DC is trying to set up their own little history for the Joker character. Both versions of it. This being a one-off movie, I'm not buying it. I just don't see them doing that. Okay, now here's my official prediction for this. And there's a lot here. If, and it's a big if, the new Joker movie is successful, they will make another 2 movies. At the end of the Joker movie that is being made, we will see the rise of the original Joker. But during or after the credits, we will get a tease for Batman. And here's a big one. With whoever is taking over. Yes, that's right. I am predicting that Ben Affleck is done. In the second movie, and after the Batman movie that they're trying to get made and don't know if Affleck's going to be a part of, I believe this Batman movie will have a Joaquin Phoenix Joker tease attached to it and have an established Dick Grayson Robin in it who leaves at the end. In this second movie, a younger Batman and a Jason Todd Robin, who is set up either at the end of the Batman or at the beginning of this movie, will face off against the Joker, and Jason Todd will die, and probably by crowbar, setting up the Red Hood in the future if you'd like to use him. Now, in the third movie, Batman will face off against the Joker again. This will be a movie that sets up Tim Drake as Robin and also Jared Leto's Joker. You see, there will be this parallel of hero worship going on. On Batman's side, Tim Drake will track him down and will want to be a new Robin, all while Batman still struggles with the death of Jason Todd, like in the comics. Now, on the Joker side of things, a new character, a very sick character, played by Jared Leto, will seek out the Joker and want to join him. While the original Joker plans on messing up Leto's character, and boy does he, in the end, Leto gets the better of the original Joker and eventually kills him, taking over. Now, is this a mess of a storyline? Hell yes it is. But I didn't say it wouldn't be. This is what I think DC will try to do. The only other variant as I could see in that third movie, Jason Todd being played by Jared Leto, but I doubt it. They would want someone younger. I didn't say that this was going to be pretty. Now, do I want something like this to work? Do I want DC to put some real thought into making something like this? Of course I do. I am tired of seeing them fail. I don't want to see them fail. So here's hoping that they can finally make something really special out of this. Or Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie could just be a one-off like they said it's going to be. Boring. All right. On to quick hits. And these are going to be really quick today. Zendaya, Mary Jane from the newest version of Spider-Man, has denied that she was offered the role of Ariel in the future live-action version of The Little Mermaid. But that doesn't mean she wouldn't take the part. When asked about it, she said, quote, "I mean, yeah, why wouldn't I?" Kingsman 3 is officially getting made. While there isn't a ton of information on it yet, it was confirmed that Matthew Vaughn will be returning as writer and director. It is expected that Taron Egerton and Colin Firth will be returning, but there is no real word on them or any of the actors yet. The release date for Kingsman 3 will be on November 8th, 2019. That is a very quick turnaround. Dr. Sleep, the sequel to The Shining, has yet another role filled. Emily Aylan Lynn from ABC's Revenge has been cast as Snakebite Andy. Now look, I've never read the book, but there sure are some pretty creative names for some of the characters in it, aren't there? The Twilight Zone will be returning on CBS's All Access, with Jordan Peele not only producing the program, but hosting and narrating it as well. The Veronica Mars revival on Hulu is officially happening. The returning cast includes Jason Dohring, Francis Capra, Percy Daggs III, David Starzyk, and of course, Veronica Mars herself, Kristen Bell. Pharrell Williams will be the narrator for Illumination's The Grinch. Oh boy, that makes me happy. Mel Gibson is going to be directing a remake of The Wild Bunch, and apparently Hollywood is pissed. Tommy Wiseau and Greg Sestero, the duo behind The Room and pretty much nothing else of note, reenacted the Dark Knight interrogation scene for The Nerdist. It's something. I'll put the link in the description below if you really want to see it. And don't click the link. While Star Wars films are not going to stop, ever, because money, they are set to slow down. This is according to the chief executive officer at Disney, Bob Iger. While I dug the hell out of Solo, and I like Rogue One, it's still probably a good idea. Happy Death Day sequel is going to be called Happy Death Day to You. Cute. Look, as long as it's as damn entertaining as the first one, I'm cool with it. Johnny Galecki will be guest starring on The Conners, returning as David. And according to sources, Juliette Lewis is set to play his never-before-seen girlfriend, Blue. The Hellboy reboot has been delayed by 3 months, so now it won't come out until April 12th, 2019. Crap. Clint Eastwood's new movie, The Mule, comes out this year on December 14th. Eastwood not only directs the movie, but he also stars in it. Why am I now just hearing about this? By the way, the movie sounds awesome. It co-stars Bradley Cooper, Michael Pena, and Lawrence Fishburne. Again, why the hell am I just hearing about this now? Bruce Dern has been cast to replace Burt Reynolds in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Honestly, it's great casting. It would have been great casting either way. The role he will portray is the character of George Spahn, who is a blind ranch hand who owned the Manson property that the cult leader lived on with his followers. And lastly, the X-Men Dark Phoenix trailer. Yeah, what can I say about it and not be really mean? I like the last logo, I guess. And that's going to be the end of Quick Hits today. I want to remind everyone of the smaller YouTuber Spotlight video. You can find a link to it in the description below. If you are a smaller YouTuber, I'm thinking 2,000 or so or less. If you know a small YouTuber, please put the link in the comments section of that video. So hopefully, and also share the video. So that way, more people will see these links and maybe find something they didn't know existed, and it'll help the smaller channels at least get some exposure. People have done that for me. And of course I always, attribute my subscribers to getting a lot of help from Brad. I can never thank that guy enough, for the help he's given me. And I just want to try to give something back to those that have been and are in the same position that I am when it comes to subscribers on YouTube. A bit of a channel update. Talking movies. Sometime this weekend or early next week, I'll have my reviews for Hellfest. And I'm also still working on my Assassination Nation review. I honestly just really don't want to do it because the movie was that underwhelming to me. And I just don't really want to, a part of me doesn't even really want to talk about it. I'll probably still try to do something this weekend or early next week. I also did reviews of Night School and Smallfoot with Brad over on his channel. And there's really nothing more I need to say. So if you want to hear what I think of Smallfoot and Night School, make sure to check those out on his channel. It's in one video. And I'll also be reviewing anything else I can get my hands on this weekend. It's going to be a fairly busy weekend for me, so I'm not sure what's going to go on when it comes to movies. Gino's bad at games. I am having so much fun playing Valiant Hearts: The Great War. It's a World War I action puzzler game that's inspired by letters written during World War I. It's one of those that I know it's going to break my heart in the end, but the game, the art style of the game, the way the game plays, the only thing I haven't liked so far, there's like this, you're a medic in one part, and when she's fixing people up, you kind of got to do like button press rhythm games, and I'm not the greatest at those. I mean, it gives you a lot of leeway, thankfully. But the rest of the game, even those parts aren't so bad that it hurts the game for me. But I'm having so much fun playing that game. And definitely check out the channel and that playlist, Gino's Bad at Games, to check that out. And any of the other games I've played. I played the Game of Thrones RPG, Max Payne 3. There's The Force Unleashed, the first part. There's lots of, and there's also lots of games where I played them just one time, some arcade games and things like that. So make sure to check out that playlist. Crossing Streams playlist. I have my spoiler discussion for Iron Fist Season 2. Also, I took a look at Netflix's Dragon Prince, which is brought to you by some of the people behind Avatar: The Last Airbender, a show I love. Also, there's my new segment, Check Your Sources. It's going to be probably on Wednesdays most weeks. There's a new little game on the channel that I'm trying out, and you have to play on the honor system a little bit to play along. You watch the video, but don't go looking up the source stories after I say them. Try to figure it out on your own. I give you 3 different rumors based on sources, because I love sources on this channel. There's 3 different rumors based on sources that I found, but there's a catch. One of the sources is me. It's me, Austin. It was me all along. To find any video that I've been involved with, or videos from either officially or unofficially, those under the GB3 umbrella, make sure to check out the GB3 family playlist. The latest thing, of course, is going to be Brad and I's reviews from this weekend of Night School and Smallfoot. And also make sure to follow me on Twitter and Facebook if you like. I'm getting rough on Facebook again, but Twitter I'm definitely using a lot. You can follow. It's just the same as the channel, the Reel Geno. And I want to draw your attention to my buddy Heisener's channel. He's continuing his really long playthrough of Dragon Quest XI. So if you want to see a gamer play through that game, he's been playing it a lot, like 2-3 hour sessions. And also over on his channel, we continued again playing the remake of Shadowgate. We're going to beat that game, I swear. But you know what? That's going to be all for the show today. I want to thank everyone for your continued support of the channel. For those of you that are new here, thank you so much for checking it out. It means a lot to me that you guys take the time to listen to my stuff weekly on this channel, and as long as you like listening to it, I'm going to keep making it. That's going to be all for this episode of Get on the Mic. If you like what you've heard here, please subscribe to the Reel Geno YouTube channel, like this video, and if you have anything to say about any of these stories, please feel free to leave a comment in the section below. Until next time, I am your host, the Reel Geno, Geno Reynolds. See you later. Peace.